You know what, y'all? I am so sick and tired of people deducing a woman's value if she's single, in her 30s, and especially if she has no children. That's BS. So today I'm here to debunk that. I'm going to give you the 5 benefits of being a single woman in your 30s.
Hold up, sis. Hold up. Greetings and welcomes for those who just joined us. This is Amuna, Noteworthy today, but I'm not going to go on the screen because it's a commentary on a commentary. And I just want just to speak to just one little part of the conversation. And so I'm going to let it rock, and then I'll stop it to let me know your thoughts, and then you can let me know your thoughts.
Benefit number 1, you can master a lifelong goal. I don't know how many times I hear ladies who are in long-term relationships or are married, even ladies in my family, I hear them, they put their lifelong goals on hold for their relationship. Look, let me make it known, the Amazing Woman's Guide is not here to be anti-love or anti-relationship. It's on the contrary. I am here to help you ladies to build the foundation of you so that you
I'm trying to be mature, but I thought I had a lot of hand movements, but sis got a lot of hand movements going on. It's like she landing the plane on the runway or something. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me. And my voice, please excuse. I went to the beach yesterday and the wind was blasting. So, let's continue. Sis got a lot of hand movements, but let's continue.
you can fill yourself up and so that you can then overflow into someone else. Look, in our 20s, we took a lot of time, we stumbled, we fumbled to try to figure out who we are and what we want. In your 30s, you get that time because you've matured to actually hone in on your purpose, live your life and fulfill the dreams and the goals that you have, so that then you can take that on and help someone else to build on theirs. Benefit number
So I thought I wanted to comment just on the commenter, the Poor Man's Podcast, but now I want to comment on sis over here. One of the things as it relates to, because I passed my 30s, so I guess I could talk on the topic now, right? But one of the things as it relates to finding your purpose and your mission and a lot of that, purpose-driven life and that whole conversation is that if you don't have a broader scope of the purpose of life, period, full stop, then we will put so much emphasis on trying to find our singular purpose and not understanding the grand scheme of things. So together we have a purpose individually, but we also have a purpose collectively, and they work in tandem with one another. And the purpose, you have to look at the function of a thing. She talked about, or maybe I'm going ahead of myself, but I believe I heard her speaking about what society will say. Part of what society is saying is wrong, and part of what society is saying is right. When we look at functionality of a thing, of a part of creation, it has a function, and once it fulfills that function correctly, I have to keep touching my screen because it's going to go out on me. But once we fulfill that function, then we can say we have fulfilled the purpose. I'll give for an example and I'll press play. If the designer of the battery designed the battery with the positive and negative to go into a device to give it power, when the battery is put within the device and it powers that device, it has fulfilled its purpose. That is what it was created for. Now, there's different levels when you're talking about people and humanity, right? We have different levels and components to us. But as it relates to the procreation sector, which is where a lot of people seem to push back, our reproductive system was created for the purpose of reproducing. We are seed that has a fruit that bears fruit that has seed within it. We see it in creation, and we are no different. We are humanity. So yes, part of our purpose is tied to bringing forth more seed that will bear more fruit, that will bring forth more seed. I know some people are going to be like, I'm on that. But hey, we could talk about it.
I give my input. Sure, the grass always looks greener, okay? So when you have women in their 30s and they see other women in their 30s doing the career. They see them on Instagram with the Birkin bag and they're traveling and they're doing the thing, whatever, whatever. I know a lot of these women. I know at least 4 or 5 of these women. I won't say a lot of them. 4 or 5, okay? I know about 4 or 5 of these women that are in their 30s and they're doing their thing. They're not happy, okay? Now, their Instagram suggests otherwise, but they're not happy.
I would have to agree with that part. That by the time many women get to this point and the novelty of the traveling or the novelty of the possessions, or you got all of the things that you say you wanted, and now don't you realize that that's just material things and it doesn't fill this void within you, then I would have to agree that many are not happy and they begin to look for happiness in other ways, in other spaces. So with that, I would have to agree, but let's continue.
A lot of the women that said that they wish that they could have that career, they sacrificed that career for a family life. And that is a sacrifice that is unappreciated by society in the most part, but it should be more appreciated because it is a huge sacrifice.
And I would like to say I agree with that part, that going for one and not the other is a sacrifice. There's some people who say you could have it all, but no, something is going to be sacrificed. Somewhere along the line, you're going to drop the ball, because being present when you are building a household, when you're building up your children, it takes attentiveness. It takes you to be present. It takes you to be aware. It takes you to be involved beyond just they have food, clothes, and shelter. It takes a lot. I'm speaking from experience. And so, yes, there are many things that you can do in the public sector, which is your career, right? That's going to meet the needs of the people in the public sector. But when you do it in the private sector, society doesn't necessarily appreciate it as much. Let me just say that.
Make. And I understand that maybe sometimes you'll regret it. But what you chose to do was take something that wasn't as fulfilling and chose to do something that you felt was more fulfilling. Okay? How do you know it's fulfilling? Because jobs pay you because they know that you would rather be doing something else than being there working for them. Okay? You get $7.50 at McDonald's because they understand that you would rather be at home playing video games or hanging out with your friends. Okay? They understand that. That's why they are willing to pay you for it. The thing about motherhood, it's so fulfilling for a lot of women that they don't need to get paid for it. And they're happy with that.
This is the part why I wanted to make the video. Because I was like, wait a minute, rewind. Okay, it is fulfilling, but they don't want to get paid. That little back part right there. In what way? So let them continue. And then I drop down in the comment section and I actually share my thoughts on it. So that's the part that I was like,
And there have been laws and policies put in place to protect the women that make that sacrifice. That's why women get child support. That's why women get 50% from divorce. That was from a time when women were okay with making the sacrifice of career to be a housewife. Okay? The only problem now is those benefits are then transferred over to women who also want to have a competitive career. All right? So these are women that don't want to be housewives. They get into a marriage and they're not happy. And so they can divorce and they're incentivized to do so because they get extra money. Those policies were not for women like that. Those policies for women that wanted to be dependent on a man. All right, and if something went wrong, those women would be compensated for that sacrifice. But we got to stop acting like it's not fulfilling for most women to be mothers. That is a very fulfilling job to do. And like I said, that the proof is in the pudding. They don't even need to get paid for it, and a lot of them are still happy as long as they're taken care of. And that's usually when they have already found a husband before that. Let's continue the video.
Yeah. That did. He said it again, right? I would say it is fulfilling, and a lot of women may not know what they're looking for, or this, like I said, this is may not be ready to invest. We have to consider that. As it relates to motherhood, some people have a maternal instinct. Other people have the maternal instinct, but it's dialed down a bit. And that's going to be dependent upon the investment that was made in that soul before, I'm talking about the woman, before she comes to this point. And so what we try to do is pick up the conversation where we're just seeing the person who's standing in front of us, not realizing that they are the fruit of the seed that someone else is planted. And as you go down the line, depending on what was in the soil, depending on what was deposited in your experience, is going to show you how you show up in the world, as to whether or not you saw your mother, let's say, and she was a housewife and it wasn't fulfilling for her and she complained a lot and she didn't have the tools. We don't know what negative experiences this person may have had to say, you know what, I'm just going to go for the job. I'm going to go for the career. And I have a perfect you know what? As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is pause this video and get an illustration, because you guys know I like illustrations. And so stand by. I'll be right back. Favorite movies. And now I know why. I was looking for it the other day. This is the clip. This is Love and Basketball. And this is a perfect illustration of what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to press play and we're going to talk about it.
Hey. Hi. Your sister's bringing the baby by later, so be nice to be around.
Yeah, I can't wait to see her. Need any help?
No, I can manage. Thank you.
I just saw Quincy.
How's he?
So pause. You may not remember the movie or know what's going on, but let me just set up the clip. Sanaa Lathan, she pursued career, she pursued basketball, and her mother was a stay-at-home housewife all of her life. So she stayed at home with her 2 children and helped her husband around the house. As you can see, she's baking a pie. And now we're going to have the clash between what the mother was and what the daughter saw and how she interpreted what she saw.
Engaged.
To that stewardess.
Yeah, you met her?
Oh, his mother had a barbecue a few weeks back. He can do a lot better if you ask me.
So what do I do?
Find out where they're registered and send them again.
So essentially, the conversation also is around the fact that Sanaa Lathan, she had a love interest in Omar Epps' character, but she pursued her career and she lost him. So now she's back. She's, the career wasn't it. It wasn't fulfilling. She still was missing something. And now she comes home and realizes that he has chosen another woman to marry. And the mother's like, what you want me to tell you? And so now she's looking for an okay to go ahead and do what she really wants to do.
What happened?
Is that still your answer to everything?
Yeah, when you come at me with bullshit like that.
Oh no. Are they cursing their mamas in Spain? You didn't want my opinion. I don't even know why you asked.
I asked, but why does it always have to be so damn prissy?
What do you want me to say, Monica? Go over there and beat up the girl? You gonna have sex with him? Because I'm not gonna do it. Yes, I think decorum is important. And yes, I'd rather bake a pie than shoot a stupid jump-up shot. If that makes me too prissy for you, then that's just too damn bad.
So that's why we can't get along? Because I'd rather shoot a stupid jump shot?
You ones always turn your nose up at me.
No, I don't.
Oh, yes.
This is interesting, intergenerational. So the mother's like, you who are out in the world, who's doing something that the world values, looks down at me. And all too often, even in this day and time, the woman who goes out in the world and earns a living and has a career, in some cases, looks down on the woman who's in the house. Not even that to say the man looks down, which he also does in some cases. The woman looks down. So now at this point, the daughter is looking down at the fact that her mother doesn't have value in the marketplace, essentially.
Female superstar athlete whose mother is nothing but a housewife.
That's not it.
Oh, don't tell me you're not ashamed of it, because I know.
I remember when I was 8 years old. You spent like 4 hours cooking up this big fancy meal. And I guess you and Dad got your wires crossed or something, because in he walks with a couple of pizzas. And you didn't say anything. You never stood up for yourself. Ever. If I was ashamed, it was because of that.
That is ridiculous.
What's ridiculous is not being a cater. So your husband can feel like a man knowing his woman's home cooking and ironing his drawers.
Sorry.
Damn
I knew
it!
that was coming. My bad. I knew that was coming. She snapped the snot out of her. But again, she's looking at the fact that as the child, observing that, wow, your mother is not getting respect. She's not getting respect. Like the mother says, people looked at her mother as nothing but a housewife. So what the daughter is looking at is that you're not getting respect outside and you're not getting respect inside. So why do you even do this job? Why are you doing this job?
Oh, Monica,
I'm sorry.
is that really all you think about me? When your daddy and I got married, yes, I had dreams. But I happened to have gotten pregnant with Lena. And then I had you. So I had to put my dreams on hold.
And that's what the woman was speaking about in the beginning of her clip, about women having dreams and putting the dreams on hold. And that's what Poor Man's Podcast is speaking about, it being a sacrifice. It is a sacrifice, but oftentimes the people who you sacrifice for don't appreciate it, right? They take it for granted and don't consider the fact that you had dreams and you had aspirations and there are other things that you wanted to do. So in closing, I wanted to report that I did get a respectful exchange from the Poor Man's Podcast. So shout out to you for that respectful exchange, which is rare on YouTube in the street these days. My comment was that motherhood is so fulfilling, they don't need to get paid for it. I was quoting him, and then, oh man, I need to go ahead and fix that right there. Paid of it. I meant to put for it. Should I fix that live on air? I sure should. Y'all know I have like... let me fix that. Live on air for it. There we go. Yeah, no typos. Let me put a little space right there. All right, cool. All right, boom. So society doesn't value motherhood and doesn't value the mother's contribution to society. For this reason, many women are choosing the job over family. And I kind of shared my thoughts. And the brother came back. Unfortunately, I somewhat agree. This is also rare in these YouTube streets. Good while housewives should be respected. They have one of the most important jobs in America, in the world. The person that is a very important job is the future is actually literally in your hands, and how you treat her is going to reflect on how the future looks. So I respond by saying, I'm thankful for the concession on that point. Agreed, good housewives should be respected, but as a society, they are not, which makes having an honest conversation about how and why women opt out becomes tricky. And that's facts, right? We want to talk about women not wanting to be home, but not the real reason as to why. The housewife stay-at-home mother is looked at as having, quote, no value in the marketplace, end quote, because her labor cannot be traded for goods and services. The economy that she creates is within the home. It does not transfer. It's kind of like Chuck E. Cheese printing their own money. You get hugs, you get kisses, you get notes from your children, and that does fill your space. That fills your heart and your soul, and you feel fulfilled. But you can't go outside with that. You can't go to the store and be like, you know what? Here is the IOU my child made me today. You see that heart? They did that all by themselves. Can you bring me this juice? It doesn't work like that. You can't trade that to the outside world. And many women who have been left in vulnerable positions decided and have seen those who they've loved been left in vulnerable positions, decides that because that can't be traded, they're not going to sacrifice their position in that space to go and get what can be traded. It goes on to say the housewife, even though it goes on, I go on. The housewife, even though physically considered as an adult, becomes a dependent in her husband's household. So if her job is within the household, again, she's his dependent because she cannot maintain herself without him. So if she happens to fall in a place where it's compromised and she's compromised, then therein lies the problem, right? It says that is a vulnerable place to be and a position that has historically been easy to exploit. The man-woman relationship issue is multifaceted and requires a willingness to speak to the problem and not at them. And that's what I find we do oftentimes, is that we speak to the problem. Yeah, single mother. Yeah, yeah, you don't want to be a housewife. We speaking at the problem and we're not really understanding why the car is not moving anymore, right? What part of the engine has failed? So hopefully that helped share some light. That's my thoughts. That was commentary on commentary. I want to thank everybody for tuning in.